Looking at Bitcoin here, guys, very pivotal level going into today's action. If we take a look at Bitcoin, we can see it's just below the major pivot line. Now, the major pivot line, isn't it kind of crazy to look at this chart and be like, all right, we're right at this major pivot line, and we're coming right into the Federal Reserve FOMC decision, right? Think about that.
Bitcoin Zelle stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now, guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zelle today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, let's discuss these topics and more.
Look at this vertical move on the chart on Travelers. Same thing. Why the heck are you and me and all of the people in this U.S. here in the U.S. and probably all over the world paying so much for insurance? The inflation on insurance is like number one almost every time. Rent and insurance in terms of inflation are number one. What the heck? They're just making more and more money. If I was a politician, if I was someone running for president, which, by the way, I wouldn't want that job in a million years, but if I was, I would be looking at this more than anything else. I would be looking at the ridiculousness of this. Because, again, this is showing you that they're making more and more money, yet you and I, we're always paying more, and it's getting harder and harder to pay these premiums for these insurance claims. And by the way, you know, even the worst thing about it is I had a leak in my house recently, and of course, what happens? They figured out a way to not cover it. Like, what the heck? All right, anyways, I digress, guys. You guys know I got to get these things off my chest and just, you know, I think you guys feel my pain in that respect. All right, so we're going to get away from that. I do want to get into Bitcoin's chart real quick here. Looking at Bitcoin here, guys, very pivotal level going into today's action. If we take a look at Bitcoin, we can see it's just below the major pivot line. Now, the major pivot line, isn't it kind of crazy to look at this chart and be like, all right, we're right at this major pivot line, and we're coming right into the Federal Reserve FOMC decision, right? Think about that. So you know you're going to get some sort of move today, and the kicker is going to be, is it going to be enough to push it above here, or is the pivot line going to reject it again and push Bitcoin down? Remember, path of least resistance is still to the downside, but sometimes you need a catalyst to make this, to push it through that level. Will the Fed be that catalyst today? We'll know later today. When I do trading the close today, we'll probably have a pretty good idea of where Bitcoin is going to end the day, because that will be after the Federal Reserve announcement. And by the way, in my live today at 2 p.m. or 1:55 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be going over the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to be trading with you guys. If there's trades that I see that are high probability, we're going to be doing it all right here inside this studio with my trading account and all that fun stuff. All right, so Bitcoin right there. We'll continue to follow through on that here.
BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has outlined Bitcoin's potential to reach a $1 trillion market cap in its latest report. The company discusses Bitcoin's volatility, historical returns, and its evolving role as a global monetary alternative. BlackRock's report discusses Bitcoin's remarkable rise to a $1 trillion market cap and its adoption as a global asset. However, the report acknowledges uncertainties regarding Bitcoin's future as a widely accepted store of value or payment method. Bitcoin has delivered an impressive annualized return of over 100% in the past decade, outperforming all major asset classes in 7 out of the last 10 years. Despite 4 major drawdowns exceeding 50%, Bitcoin has shown resilience and the ability to recover from bear markets. BlackRock notes that factors like global monetary stability, geopolitical issues, and U.S. fiscal and political health will shape Bitcoin's adoption as a global monetary alternative. These elements influence Bitcoin's risk differently than traditional assets, making it stand out from typical risky investments. At press time, Bitcoin is trading at $60,080, reflecting a 6.22% gain over the past week. Experts like Plan B suggest that Bitcoin could be in the early stages of a bull market, potentially triggered by political developments like the U.S. presidential election. BlackRock's analysis positions Bitcoin as a unique asset with the potential for continued growth, though its adoption will depend on global and domestic economic conditions.
I did want to look at gold real quick as well as we go through. And if we look at gold, a couple key things on gold here. So number one, same thing like Bitcoin, you're at a very pivotal level. So if we look at this, right, if we look at this chart, we can very clearly see we're right at the upper end of what's an inclining wedge pattern. Now remember, inclining wedge patterns, you have like something like this, right, an inclining wedge, and you're moving like this. Sometimes you can go above, but in general, they lead to moves to the downside. So I know you guys know me for a year plus. I've been an uber bull on gold, but I'm still skeptical on this. I still think it needs to flush out the weak hands that are joining late to the party here. I still think it's going to 3,000 an ounce probably next year at some point, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got to do a little bit of a dip and then push it back to the upside, kind of get the weak hands out. Markets do that. Institutions do that, folks. And by the way, I talk about this all the time, revealing secrets to you guys about the institutions, but don't think the institutions don't know every single person who's long gold, not maybe by name, but how many longs, how many retail longs, commercial could be institutional longs and shorts. They know all this data. All this data is reported to the NASDAQ and to the SEC. They have this information, right? So the idea is that when too many people get on one side of the market, number one, you run out of buyers if it's to the upside or sellers to the downside, and it tends to reverse. But also you get these scenarios where it's very easy to create short squeezes in these type of situations or flush outs when you get too many weak hands long. So just keep an eye on that on gold. We'll continue to watch it myself. All right, a couple other things here as we go through on silver. As we look at silver, we see silver right at the upper end of this trend line, which again, right at a pivotal level going into that key decision later today. All right, and again, I'm just going to go over a couple other charts. I do want to touch base on this chart here of natural gas. The reason why, because yesterday it did hit my level. And did you guys see what happened to price? It got rejected right back down. Now it's bouncing a little bit today, but that was that short level that I gave you guys yesterday. And with my commodity service, Smart Money Commodities and Miners, we did pull the trigger on a short on natural gas right at that high pivot yesterday. So far, so good. I will keep you posted, but I am short on natural gas here. And again, the thought process being you have your M pattern, right? Your classic M pattern. There's your A. A's usually go like that. Granted, we'll have to see where it goes. If it breaks above here, that could negate it. But in general, that's your MA pattern. And if you look up in technical analysis books, you'll see those MAs, WV patterns. MAs are bearish formations. WVs are bullish formations. All right, a couple other charts here. Let's go to the oil chart and see what we got on oil here. And oil, what we're looking at is a drop, bounce, small pullback. But I'm still thinking that we could get one more move back to the upside like that. Scene of the crime, and then your next big move down. Maybe if the Fed only cut 25 basis points, that actually could help rally oil today because it would imply that the U.S. is doing better. And remember, we did see retail sales yesterday that came out better than expected as well. So just something to keep an eye on that front.
MicroStrategy's aggressive Bitcoin acquisition strategy, led by founder Michael Saylor, hinges on the belief that Bitcoin will deliver annualized returns of 30% over the next 2 decades. While the company has seen substantial gains, individual investors should consider the risks of such an approach, particularly regarding portfolio diversification. While MicroStrategy's aggressive Bitcoin strategy has boosted its stock value, investors should carefully consider the risks and ensure they maintain a balanced, diversified portfolio. Bitcoin's potential upside is clear, but so are its risks. As the Federal Reserve's FOMC meeting looms, U.S. investors are adjusting their Bitcoin BTC and Ethereum ETF portfolios. Bitcoin ETF have seen a surge in buying, while Ethereum ETF remain underwhelming. While Bitcoin investors are ramping up their buying ahead of the FOMC meeting, Ethereum has struggled to inspire the same level of interest, reflecting contrasting outlooks for the two leading cryptocurrencies. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zelle for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.